Good Saturday morning, everybody, and welcome into the Auburn pregame show brought to you by Medical Properties Trust. I'm your host, Simone Eli, alongside Nubyjas Wilborn this morning. Nubyjas, good morning. Happy Saturday. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing really well, guys. Auburn at home, the season finale, at least when it comes to the home finale, I should say. Of course, we have the Iron Bowl, but the home finale today against Western Kentucky, a 3 o'clock kickoff that will air on the SEC network. Nubyjas will be headed to Jordan-Hare here in just a little while. This is not exactly a just gimme game, Nubyjas. This is a really tough opponent that Auburn has coming in the second to last week of the season today. What's your overall thought on this matchup?
Well, I mean, it's going to be interesting, right? Because Western Kentucky can sling the ball around. They have shown that they can score pretty much in all their games. Their quarterback is averaging nearly 350 yards a game. They have a receiver that has about 90 catches. And they're going to put the ball in the air. They're going to make Auburn work for it. And it's been a while since Auburn's secondary has been tested in the way that it will today. Also, on the flip side, Western Kentucky's team that gives up a lot of yards in the pass game.
Yeah.
Auburn has not passed the ball very well. I think last time Robbie Ashford had 60 yards. The Mississippi State game had 75. So maybe this is a game where Robbie Ashford, and hopefully the weather conditions will be favorable. Last week, you had the 25-mile-per-hour wind gust at Jordan-Hare. The week before that, you had the rain. So maybe all those combinations, maybe Auburn get the pass game going as well.
Yep, we will see Auburn about a 6.5, 5.5 point favorite. It's one of those numbers. I saw like multiple different things. You never know what it's going to be, but something like that in this game at home against Western Kentucky. The big excitement right now in Nubyjas, of course, is around Cadillac Williams, what he has done for this program. Obviously, a loss at Mississippi State. Didn't really feel like a loss on how it all went. Then a win against Texas A&M last week that was a legit win and felt like it felt like an Iron Bowl win, judging from, I wasn't there, but judging from the TV broadcast, what an exciting atmosphere. It was just so awesome to see the War Eagle family just really rally around Carnell and that team in that moment. What was it like on the field, man? And what can you say about the impact he's made on this program?
Oh, it was insane. Very, very loud, very intense. Students were in darn near 3 hours before kickoff. It felt like a really big game Auburn atmosphere.
Yeah,
it felt like Auburn and Texas A&M were playing for the SEC West Championship.
Yeah,
until kickoff, and then you're reminded that these were two teams on 5 games.
No doubt.
But even throughout the game, the energy was there, the fans were there, and the end of that whole scene at the end, after that game is over, with Cadillac running around the field and all players in the stands. They didn't rush the field. I mean, because you still have to have a little bit of decorum and respect for yourself if you're Auburn. You have actually been there before, Auburn. I know it's been a while.
Yeah,
you have been there before, so you don't want to storm the field and take down the goalpost for beating a team on a 5-game losing streak. However, the energy for Cardell, Mickey Ficky, Williams was incredible, and really shout out to all the fans who showed up. It was good. It was a good time. It was definitely the energy that I'd been told about since I got on this beat, so it was good to see.
Definitely. Shout out to Nubyjas for giving us something to laugh about and enjoy this morning. 9:30, guys. The kickoff today at 3 o'clock at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Nubyjas, this is not exactly just another run-of-the-mill game. This could be Auburn's 5th win going into the Iron Bowl eligibility. To even think that that's in a conversation, it's there. Despite where things were several weeks ago. How much is that maybe in the back of this team's mind, knowing that there could be a bowl berth should there be a couple of wins here?
Well, not only a bowl berth, but an opportunity for Carnell to maybe really, whether he realized it or not, he's on a job interview right now.
Yeah.
And actually, he has one of the more extensive job interviews for the Auburn coaching job. Right now, he's on it. He's 1-1. If they can find a way to win out these next 2 games, which won't be easy because obviously it means beating Bama next week. Hey, man, you have to have a very serious conversation with this man about becoming the head coach. You have to at least explore the option. It goes from feel-good story to, hey, this man might be our football coach.
Yeah.
And you look what the Indianapolis Colts did with hiring Jeff Saturday off the street. I mean, you got to question a lot of things now. But anyway, so I was trying to say, the team cares. They want to win.
Yeah.
They like Cadillac, and they want him to have opportunity.
Well, let's talk about that opportunity. I had this later in the show. We'll get to Robbie Ashford and the offensive evaluation in a minute. I mean, what is the latest on the coaching search, obviously everyone can be a part of Twitter and social media and see all of the rumor mill and all the things. But what is the latest on the coaching search on the Plains? And is Cadillac a legitimate contender for this HC job?
Well, today, right now, I would say maybe not a contender. But again, if they win these next 2 games, he's going to be in the mix. He has to be at least conversation matter. Right now, it appears from everything I've heard that Lane Kiffin is still the target for most people.
Yeah.
A lot of people still talking about Hugh Freeze and Matt Rule and those guys. So
yeah,
we'll see. But right now, the decision is up to John Cohen, who is the Auburn athletic director. And one thing about it, typically Auburn would do a search committee for these kind of things. And to be honest with you, that search committee leaks a little bit. And that's how we end up finding out who Auburn talked to this day, all that kind of stuff, whatever happened. Cohen is like, nope, I got this. It's on me.
Okay.
Keeping things quiet. So that's why you haven't really heard a lot.
Okay. That's some good insight. I mean, to me, that could be a positive thing.
I think it's a very positive thing. It's just different from the Auburn thing, right? The traditional, the traditional Auburn thing, which, Cohen is really trying
it's different from the Auburn thing. You said it right the first time.
Yeah, it's just different. It just is what it is. Come on, I ain't trying to make fun of people, but
no, it's just the truth, though. I mean, everyone knows that there's obviously been controversial situations and other hirings, and so. I mean, I feel like there is a level of I respect that level for Cohen to come in and say, "Hey, this is my job. This is my opportunity to make this hire."
He had an opportunity to pay me $1.25 million to do every year, which is twice as much as you paid Alan Green. So, yeah, you should give the man a little bit of power, right? Get out of his way and let him actually be the athletic director. It seems like with this particular situation, it's not to say he won't accept input. He will, and he'll get input. One person said in that, hey, Tom Brady should be the head coach. He's not doing so well down there in Tampa. Maybe he could try to do better at Auburn. I'm like, well, I don't know if that's going to get him back with Giselle. So, I don't think that's going to work. But
sometimes I wonder if that's his goal. I mean, he did choose football, it seemed like.
Yeah, well, hey, we're going to just move on with that one.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a little bit of football. Auburn, of course, hopes to do much for Kentucky. You talked about the offense a little bit a minute ago, and Robbie Ashford having some passing game concerns. This is a guy who is super, super talented, especially with his legs. He's a huge threat when it comes to his ground game, but it seems like there could be an opportunity for Ashford to rack up some yards in the air today.
Well, you would hope so, right? At some point, you want to see him put together a great passing performance.
Yeah.
And it's been a while since he's done it. And I'm not saying he's not capable of it, but it sure would be nice to show it, because here's the thing. It's not just for now. It's for the future. But it's whether, let's say they win the next 2 games and Cadillac Williams becomes the head coach. You still got to have a quarterback.
Sure.
If it's Lane Kiffin, if it's insert name here, and by the way, don't be surprised if Cohen goes outside of the box, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, back to Robbie, he's got to show that he can play. He's getting the opportunity to play Division I SEC football. Mm-hmm. And there are times in which he has shown himself performance-wise to be an SEC quarterback, and there's times not so much. Mm-hmm. And he's got to change that not so much if he wants to continue to get the opportunity, which, I think Ashford's a nice young man. I think he works hard. I think he's going to try his best. But there comes a point where the results got to be there.
Yeah. Yep, you're absolutely right. It's kind of one of those show me things, especially when you have a couple opportunities left in the regular season. Maybe one more should Auburn make a bowl game. Defensively, what do you see from this team? There have been moments of really impressive moments and moments of not so much impressive. Western Kentucky, like you said earlier, can move the ball when they want to. Do you think that they'll be challenged today?
Oh, of course they will. Look, that's not an easy offense to play against. If you look at them, they've scored against pretty much everybody this year. Really, for the last couple of years, they changed quarterbacks, and still just from Blake to Austin, and it don't look a whole lot different. You know what I'm saying? This is what they want to do, and they're going to make it happen. Obviously, it'd be nice to see Auburn get to the quarterback. Edge rusher Derek Hall will be one of those guys. Kobe Wooden would be one of those guys that you want to kind of see. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Jeffrey Emba, who has really started to step up on the defensive line. He's a game-time decision, so we'll keep an eye on whether or not he's going to play. Auburn, of course, had a lot of injuries, including on the defense, and we'll see. And Okay. Well, honestly, we hadn't said a whole lot about the secondary because last couple of games there hadn't been as much passing as it would look even against Mississippi State.
Sure.
Partly because of the rain up there, the same to hinder Auburn. But this should be a pretty good condition day. So expect for West Kentucky to try to pass it. So, yes, Auburn's defense will get challenged.
We will see, guys. Kickoff at 3 o'clock. Auburn taking on Western Kentucky today. One final tune-up really until the Iron Bowl, Nubyjas. I don't want to talk too much about next week, but it's hard to ignore when I get you on the pregame show. I just want your take on this game. I was talking to Mike Casagrande during the Alabama pregame show about how this game really, the stakes aren't there. It doesn't make the game any less important when it comes to the fan base, when it comes to the programs, but the stakes aren't there like they have been in several years past. Does not take away from this being the Iron Bowl and Auburn playing for a lot, Alabama trying to get back to its culture. It's just an interesting matchup, Nubyjas, this year.
Oh, I mean, no, but the stakes are different. I mean, okay, obviously, look, it'll be the first time in a while that neither team is playing to try to either win the SEC West. We already know that LSU is a champion, which also, by the way, is something Auburn is looking at because, hey, Brian Kelly comes down to Baton Rouge his first year. He's got those boys in the SEC Championship game.
You're right.
And remember, Auburn had a 17-point lead against those guys, okay?
You're right, yeah.
All right? So, yeah, Auburn's looking at a whole lot of things there, including the emergence of LSU. Plus, I mean, hey, Alabama doesn't want to lose 3 games in the season. I mean, when's the last time they've done that?
Yeah.
And Auburn wants to go to a bowl game. And, of course, Auburn always wants to beat Alabama. And like I said, this is the kind of game that could get Cadillac considered for a head coaching position.
You're right. You're right. So they might not have championship stakes, but still stakes nonetheless, and a lot of interesting storylines going into that game next week. As for this week, it's Western Kentucky at Auburn. Kickoff set for 3 o'clock. Of course, Nubyjas will be at Jordan-Hare Stadium with all of your coverage, and we'll be back here for the postgame show. So be sure to join us later on this evening. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the Auburn pregame show, brought to you by Medical Properties Trust. For Nubyjas, I'm Simone. Have a good day.
Medical Properties Trust, at the very heart